Since ancient times, whispers have spoken of hidden forces manipulating not just individuals, but entire crowds. In the year 1893 in Vienna, secret gatherings already made use of strange symbols, etched into candlelight rituals to guide collective thought. Was it mere superstition, or a carefully engineered technique to bend the human mind? Have you ever felt that something unseen was shaping your decisions, guiding your emotions without you even noticing? What you'll discover in this video may surprise you. We'll explore how secret societies perfected the art of mind control, not only through symbols and rituals, but also through hidden technology that still echoes in our present age. Behind closed doors, they tested methods to fracture perception, to implant ideas, to make entire populations dance to an invisible rhythm. And the more you look, the more the pattern becomes undeniable. Imagine ancient halls where whispers of power were carved into stone or underground. Chambers where experiments blurred the line between mysticism and science. Did you notice how certain signs reappear across history, from Masonic lodges to political propaganda? Could this continuity be a coincidence, or the trace of an unbroken chain of influence? In this journey, we'll dive into the secrets that shaped minds in silence and the symbols that still surround us today. Stay attentive. The truth hides in plain sight, waiting for those willing to see. Write in the comments, "I see the hidden signs." And don't forget to subscribe, because what comes next will pull you even deeper into the web of mystery. But before we unravel who truly mastered this invisible knowledge, we must return to the very beginning, to the first whisper that dared to control not one person, but the soul of a generation. Pyramids, all-seeing eyes, serpents intertwined. The language of power has always spoken through hidden symbols. You've seen them carved into ancient temples, stamped onto coins, glowing quietly in corporate logos. Secret societies like the Illuminati and the Rosicrucians believed that each image was more than decoration. To them, a symbol was a silent command, designed to slip past reason and settle in the unconscious. And once there, it could guide thoughts, shape emotions, trigger obedience, without a word being spoken. But that's only the surface. Let's go deeper. Across centuries, these signs migrated, resurfacing in times of upheaval, wars, revolutions. And the eye hovering above a pyramid, a compass hidden in stone, a serpent coiling around a staff. To the untrained eye, they appear harmless, aesthetic. But to those initiated in occult rituals, they were keys. Keys to unlock ancient codes of manipulation. Have you noticed how the same symbols appear across distant civilizations? Egypt, Babylon, Rome, and then again in America, on the dollar bill, in government buildings, in modern architecture. Coincidence, or the echo of a dark agenda that refused to die? Imagine standing in a cathedral, staring at stained glass. The light pours through patterns, but behind the beauty lies programming. Each color, each angle, designed to impress meaning upon the faithful. The same logic extended into politics, into commerce, into entertainment. Symbols became anchors for psychological influence. They bypassed speech, language, debate. They whispered directly to the mind, embedding truths no one consented to receive. Hidden power was never about what you could see. It was about what your mind absorbed without resistance. And once absorbed, the unseen began its work in silence. This is where forbidden knowledge entered the stage. Those who controlled symbols controlled perception, and perception, once twisted, controlled reality. Think of how a flag can move millions, how a logo can spark desire, how a ritual gesture can command loyalty stronger than reason. Behind every empire, every revolution, every rise and collapse, you'll find the shadows of signs guiding the collective. Secret societies guarded these tools jealously, weaving them into ceremonies, documents, monuments. To them, control was never brute force. It was the soft pull of the invisible thread, wrapped around the mind itself. Write in the comments, "I will not be controlled." But symbols alone were never enough. They needed something more, something that could merge image with emotion, suggestion with ritual. And that pursuit led them into darker territories, where the line between sacred ceremony and calculated manipulation blurred almost completely. What they discovered there would change not just the minds of men, but the very fabric of society. In 1926, accounts whispered of the Thule Society gathering in dimly lit halls of Germany. They were not merely debating politics or exchanging philosophies. They were orchestrating ceremonies where hundreds, sometimes thousands, moved in unison. Chants echoed, gestures repeated, eyes locked on torches and banners. The atmosphere thickened, charged with emotion, as if every heartbeat in the crowd began to pulse at the same rhythm. Was it coincidence? Or the first glimpse of how secret societies could weave collective rituals into the very fabric of mass manipulation? These gatherings were not accidental. They were tests, experiments in shaping the psyche of a nation. Imagine the power of inducing thousands to feel the same emotion at the same time: anger, pride, devotion. All through symbols, gestures, rhythm. The individual dissolved into the crowd. Personal thought melted into collective passion. And within that trance, new truths could be implanted. This was not brute force. It was psychological influence, a dark agenda camouflaged as culture, identity, unity. Behind the drums, behind the chants, the unseen hand of manipulation was at work, pulling strings most never realized existed. But the Thule Society did not invent the method. Ancient empires already knew the value of spectacle. Rome staged grand rituals in the Colosseum, where blood, chants, and symbols merged into collective frenzy. Babylon and Egypt layered processions with hidden codes designed to awe and silence dissent. The difference in the 20th century was scale. Technology amplified the ritual. Radios carried voices like spells. Flags carried symbols into every household, and what once belonged to the temple or the secret chamber spilled into the public square. The crowd itself became an altar, and the offering was the human mind. What makes this truly disturbing is the science behind it. Repetition alters brain waves. Chants in unison align breathing, heartbeat, rhythm. This creates a trance-like state where suggestion seeps deeper. The mind's defenses weaken. Hidden power takes root. Think of the military march, the anthem sung before a battle, the slogans shouted in endless loops. Are these simply traditions, or fragments of forbidden knowledge preserved and perfected? And if a society can synchronize bodies, they can synchronize beliefs. The music, the drums, the voices, they were more than background. They were weapons. Sound vibrates not only in the ear, but in the nervous system itself. Certain frequencies alter mood, perception, even behavior. When combined with hidden symbols and orchestrated rituals, the effect magnifies. Have you ever wondered why certain songs linger in your mind like commands? Why certain rhythms stir emotion without words? The ancients knew. The secret societies rediscovered. The modern world industrialized it. Write in the comments, "I will not be controlled." Hidden in the shadows of these ceremonies lies a terrifying truth. Manipulation thrives not only in silence, but in noise. The louder the chant, the stronger the illusion of freedom. While the unseen influence grows deeper, conspiracies do not always hide in the dark. Sometimes they stand in plain sight, disguised as tradition, celebration, or unity. And once the crowd surrenders, awakening becomes almost impossible. Yet symbols, rituals, and sound were only fragments of a larger design. They were the doorway, not the destination. Because if voices could align emotion, if symbols could shape thought, if rituals could control the masses, what would happen when these elements fused with technologies not yet understood? What if frequencies themselves became a weapon? What if entire populations could be tuned, like instruments, to a single vibration of obedience? The whispers suggest that this is not speculation, but a reality already tested, hidden just beneath the surface, waiting for those who dare to see the signs. In 1952, buried in declassified archives and fragments of reports from the shadows of the CIA, something unsettling emerges. Experiments not with chemicals alone, but with sound, vibrations tuned beneath the threshold of human hearing. These hidden frequencies, inaudible yet deeply felt, stirred emotions with uncanny precision. Fear could be summoned from silence. Obedience could be carved into the nervous system. Collective ecstasy could erupt without a single note being consciously heard. The project bore a name you've already whispered in your thoughts: MK Ultra. But the documents hint that this was only a fragment of something larger, something that blended science with forbidden knowledge, guarded by secret societies for centuries. Imagine a room where volunteers sat unaware, thinking they were merely participating in harmless studies. Then, without explanation, anxiety swept across their bodies. Heartbeats raced, palms dampened, paranoia sparked in their eyes. In another test, euphoria rose instead, laughter without cause, unity without reason. Was it hypnosis? Drugs? No, it was vibration, waves pulsing beneath perception, bypassing logic, striking directly at the primal layers of the mind. These hidden powers proved one truth: mind control could be achieved without words, without symbols, without rituals. It could be coded in sound itself. Yet, the more we look, the more the lines blur between technology and occult rituals. Secret societies had long claimed that chants, mantras, and repetitive drumming could summon altered states of consciousness. What science labeled psychological influence, the ancients called initiation. Could MK Ultra have been nothing more than the rediscovery of ancient codes, translated into laboratories of steel and fluorescent light? Think about it. Monks chanting for hours, shamans using drums, priests singing in frequencies that echo through stone cathedrals. Were these spiritual practices, or carefully preserved techniques of manipulation that the modern age disguised as faith? Some researchers uncovered chilling evidence. Frequencies at 19 Hz, the so-called ghost frequency, produce unease, dread, even hallucinations of shadows in peripheral vision. Military documents suggested that entire crowds could be subdued, made to panic, or made to surrender without knowing. Why? If sound could generate visions, was it any wonder that conspiracies flourished around haunted places, apparitions, or miraculous encounters? How much of what humanity has seen in the unseen was simply vibration, carefully tuned? And how many times have you, unknowingly, been exposed? The dark agenda was never just about fear. It was about obedience. If frequencies could lower resistance, entire populations could be guided like instruments. Propaganda would no longer need persuasion. Rituals would no longer need belief. The hidden symbols carved on walls could now be activated by tones invisible to the ear. The body itself became the altar, resonating with commands it could not reject. Write in the comments, "I see the signs." But here lies the most dangerous revelation. These experiments were not abandoned. Whispers suggest they evolved, moving from military chambers to entertainment, from laboratories to the airwaves. Think of the music that dominates the globe. Rhythms, repeated endlessly, beats aligned to heart rates, melodies so addictive they loop in the brain like mantras. Do you really believe this is accidental? Or could it be the modern face of the same forbidden knowledge, rebranded as culture, hidden in plain sight, dressed as art? The convergence of science and occult rituals paints a chilling picture. when frequencies merge with symbols, when technology fuses with ceremonies once hidden in shadows, the potential for manipulation surpasses anything history has recorded. Conspiracies no longer remain whispers. They vibrate through every speaker, every screen, every unseen current of sound. But what happens when these frequencies are not only heard, but weaponized, when they are aimed not at individuals in a laboratory, but at entire nations? And who, hidden behind the veil, holds the tuning fork that dictates the rhythm of our collective mind? By the 1970s, whispers grew louder, rumors of devices that could bypass the conscious mind altogether and reach directly into the hidden corridors of the subconscious. These were not the crude experiments of MK Ultra anymore, nor the chanting rituals of forgotten temples. These were machines, strange instruments of light and frequency, designed to merge science with the forbidden knowledge secret societies had safeguarded for centuries. Imagine sitting in a vast auditorium where pulsing lights flicker in rhythmic waves, projected with surgical precision. Within minutes, your perception shifts. Your body relaxes, but your mind drifts into a pliable state, open, vulnerable. Was this entertainment, or an occult ritual disguised as technology? Fictitious but disturbingly plausible documents described clandestine collaborations between skull and bones and hidden branches of military laboratories. Together, they engineered consciousness machines, devices capable of imprinting imagery, symbols and emotions directly into the human psyche. To the eye, it was just flashing light. To the mind, it was psychological influence at its most refined. Researchers noted that collective states of trance could be induced in hundreds, even thousands at once. A crowd could be united, not through words or ideology, but through an invisible architecture of light and rhythm. And within that architecture, suggestions could be planted like seeds. Think of the parallels, the strobe effects used in nightclubs, the hypnotic screens of televisions in the late 20th century, the endless scroll of digital platforms today. Are these modern conveniences, or echoes of a darker agenda first tested in secrecy? When entire generations spend hours before glowing rectangles, bathing in light that flickers faster than perception itself, how much of what we call choice is truly ours? How much of our will remains untouched? And how much has already been surrendered to the unseen? The most chilling detail comes from those who studied the biological responses. Pulsing frequencies of light, synchronized with brainwaves, steering them into alpha or theta states, the very thresholds between waking and dream. In this liminal zone, the subconscious becomes more accessible, more malleable. Ancient codes of initiation once required years of training, isolation, ritual. Now a machine could achieve the same in minutes. The rituals of priests and shamans were being replaced by the hum of circuitry and the cold glow of engineered light. Write in the comments, "I will not be controlled." But what if these devices were not confined to laboratories or secret halls? What if their principles leaked, intentionally or not, into mass culture? Televised broadcasts, political rallies, concerts, even digital advertising, all drenched in the same techniques of manipulation, fine-tuned over decades. Could the ecstatic frenzy of a crowd, the blind devotion to a leader, or the sudden waves of collective fear be orchestrated by more than rhetoric? Could they be engineered by machines designed to control not only what we think, but how we think? Some conspiracy accounts claim prototypes were tested in universities, masked as research into learning and relaxation. Students, exposed to flashing lights and droning sounds, reported strange dreams, heightened suggestibility, and memory gaps. Others whispered of entire towns unknowingly subjected to mass experiments, where radios, televisions, or hidden projectors carried subliminal patterns woven into daily life. Were these simply urban legends, or glimpses of truths buried under layers of denial? The more we trace these stories, the clearer a pattern emerges. Secret societies, occult rituals, hidden symbols, all converging into technology that no longer needs secrecy to operate. Instead, it hides in plain sight. Machines of consciousness woven into culture, entertainment, communication. And if this was the groundwork, the preparation, the rehearsal, what comes after? What lies beyond the flicker of light and the hum of frequency? What kind of awakening or imprisonment awaits when the next stage is unveiled and the line between machine and mind is erased? Today, in the 21st century, the lines blur in ways our ancestors could never have imagined. Symbols that once hid in stone temples now pulse across digital screens. Occult rituals once confined to secret chambers are repackaged as entertainment, ceremonies, or viral performances broadcast to millions. Hidden technology, once experimental, now seeps quietly into everyday life. Movies, concerts, advertising campaigns, all synchronized in ways that suggest more than coincidence. The surface explanation says it is merely the evolution of communication, the natural progression of culture in a connected age. But beneath that surface, shadows move, and the whispers suggest a design far older, far more deliberate. Imagine sitting in a crowded stadium. Lights flicker, music pounds at precise frequencies, symbols appear on screens larger than buildings. The crowd sways as one body, emotions surge in unison, and for a moment individuality disappears. To most, it is entertainment. To those who study forbidden knowledge, it is a ritual, an engineered moment of collective trance. The language has changed, but the essence remains. What ancient temples once achieved with chants and torches, modern industries replicate with algorithms and digital projections. The result is the same: psychological influence on a massive scale. Secret societies, whispered through history, always sought to merge the ancient codes with modern tools. They believed that control of symbols meant control of perception. Now, perception itself is shaped by networks, screens, frequencies. How many hidden symbols do you pass each day, unnoticed yet absorbed? How many rituals disguised as trends guide your thoughts without your consent? And if entire populations are nudged, shaped, manipulated in this way, is it still free will? Or is it mind control, refined into its most subtle form? The dark agenda thrives in what is unseen. It hides in shadows, in the repetition of images, in the rhythm of sound, in the architecture of rituals disguised as culture, a hand guiding billions, while most remain unaware. Conspiracies once dismissed as fantasy begin to look like fragments of truth scattered across history, waiting to be pieced together. Every revelation pushes us closer to awakening, and yet each layer we peel back reveals another beneath it. Write in the comments, I see the signs. The question is no longer whether secret societies exist or whether manipulation has been attempted. The question is how deep the machinery runs and what its final purpose might be. Do they seek merely influence or something greater, something that touches not just thoughts and beliefs, but the very structure of human consciousness itself? If symbols, rituals, and machines of light have already shaped so much of what we call reality, what comes next? And how much of your mind is truly your own? If you've walked with me until now, you already sense that what we've uncovered is not random. It is a thread woven through symbols, rituals, hidden technologies. And once you see the thread, you can no longer unsee it. Knowledge like this was never meant to reach the surface, yet here you are, holding fragments of forbidden knowledge once guarded in the shadows. If the revelations tonight have stirred something in you, let it show. Leave a trace. Write in the comments, I see the hidden truth. Your words are more than symbols. They become part of a collective awakening. If this journey resonated, if the truth whispered here opened your eyes even slightly, let your presence be felt. Press the like, not as a routine gesture, but as a signal, a spark that tells the unseen, I am aware. And if you wish to keep walking deeper into these mysteries, to uncover what secret societies and hidden powers work so hard to bury, subscribe. Think of it not as following a channel, but as joining a circle of those who refuse to look away. This path does not end here. Every video is another doorway, another fragment of a map leading into places where shadows blur with light, where the ordinary hides extraordinary conspiracies, where truth waits to be discovered. The next step is already waiting for you, and its revelations may be even darker, even more transformative than what you've just witnessed. Follow the signs. The journey has only begun.